Tony Messenger filling in for McGraw-Millhaven this morning. We are going to have a good time the rest of the show. So normally when I'm in here for the board meeting, and John Deal and I scream at each other for about an hour with me being right and him being wrong, and then Jane Duker will come in, and when she's being smart, she's agreeing with me. But so this is interesting. 4 hours in which I've got to do all of these teases and things broken up and everything else. So I want to backtrack a little bit, because the problem with talk radio is there's never enough time to get to all of the stuff that you want to get to. So earlier, I want to go back and I want to talk real quickly about the NFL concussion situation, and then I want to backtrack a little bit about our interview with Roy Blunt earlier. Set him straight on the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. But Scott Goldberg was talking about this NFL concussion suit, and it's weighed heavily on my mind just because I've got an 8-year-old who loves playing football and played tackle football last year and took some hits that had me thinking about this NFL concussion situation. But I want to tell a little story about Missouri's connection to this NFL concussion lawsuit, other than just there's a bunch of football players that have connections to the Rams and the Chiefs and that sort of thing that are involved in it. One of them is a guy named Bill Kinney. Bill Kinney's a former quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, and as you know, I'm a Denver Bronco fan, so I'm not a fan of anything Chief-related. But the Bill Kinney connection that's interesting is, in this NFL concussion lawsuit, there's a bunch of sworn statements in which they explain how the concussions have affected their lives and how they have reduced mental capacity, and how many of the athletes, this is very serious stuff, don't have memory recall that they should at their age, and they just forget things, and they get irritable, and lots of different things that are in the documents in this lawsuit. The reason that the connection to Missouri and Bill Kinney, the former Chiefs quarterback, is so interesting is that Bill Kinney is right now a commissioner on the Public Service Commission. He's one of the people that will be deciding whether or not Ameren gets to raise its rates whenever they come and ask for a rate increase to charge us more for our electricity, whether or not Noranda, the big smelter down in southeast Missouri, gets to get a special rate that will cause them to pay less for their electricity at their big manufacturing plant, and thus cause the rest of us to pay more. So this is a very important job within state government. Okay, it's an appointed job. The state Senate has to confirm them. Around the time that Bill Kinney was being confirmed for this very important job that deals with a lot of dense material and a lot of really complicated paperwork and math about, utility company earnings and all of this stuff, was around the same time the concussion lawsuit got filed. So you have this one legal document that says, I can't remember anything anymore. My brain is damaged. And at the same time, he's being confirmed by the state Senate for one of the most important actual real jobs in state government, in which his ability to use his brain is the most important thing that he's getting confirmed for. I found an irony in that when that was happening. And when Scott Goldberg was on the line with us talking about the concussion lawsuit, I was just like, I have to share that with listeners. Kind of interesting. But I want to talk about Roy Blunt's interview, because one of the things we were talking about off air, Senator Roy Blunt is the master at the pivot. The sort of, here's the question, I'm now going to say some words that might make some people think like I'm answering the question, but I don't want to answer your question, and so I'm going to then say some other words and pivot to something that I want to talk about. He is the master at that. And note that he ultimately didn't say anything about what he thinks about his former mentor, about his predecessor, U.S. Senator Kit Bond, who's been here on the McGraw Show in recent days, talking about his support for Medicaid expansion here in the state of Missouri, so that we can take those billions of dollars the federal government is offering us to improve not only healthcare outcomes, but significantly add to our economic growth by feeding one of our most important industries, the healthcare industry. Senator Kit Bond, a Republican, one of the deans of the Republican Party in the state of Missouri, is advocating for this Medicaid expansion. The St. Louis Regional Chamber is advocating for this Medicaid expansion. The Missouri Chamber of Commerce, people that I disagree with on almost everything, is advocating for this expansion because it just makes sense for the state. Because if the state doesn't expand like half of the other states in the nation have, then not only are our health care outcomes worse, but we give up that $2 billion a year that the federal government is offering to basically pay almost the full cost of this expansion. It actually hurts the budget. The math has been done. The experts have run the numbers. Not expanding Medicaid in Missouri actually makes it harder to pay the state's bills because we give up that federal money and we end up having higher costs elsewhere. So I find it interesting that Senator Blunt wouldn't really answer that question. But what he did try to answer, I have to say, is the Republicans in the Senate and in the House have got to stop this idea that they can just throw out anecdotal stories about deductibles rising and not pay attention to the numbers. The numbers do matter. And the numbers that matter in Congress are the numbers that come from the Congressional Budget Office. It is a nonpartisan group in which Republicans and Democrats in the Senate and the House, they rely on the Congressional Budget Office to put these numbers out so that when they're producing legislation, they base it on those numbers. This is either going to work or it's not. It's going to create deficits or it's going to reduce deficits. Congressional Budget Office put out its most recent report on what's going on with the Affordable Care Act, and the number of insured in this country and the predictions continue to increase. The deficits continue to drop. The increase in health care costs continue to drop. All of the news in the Congressional Budget Office report, actual numbers about what's going on with the Affordable Care Act, they are good. You can find it yourself at Congressional Budget Office. Go to Google and search it. Don't trust me. Look at the numbers. You're listening to the Big 550 KTRS. Tony Messenger filling in for McGraw-Millhaven.
There's nothing like walking into your house and having a place for everything, having your house organized. Well, the best place to start is at St. Louis Closet Company, because St. Louis Closet Company will not only organize your house, they'll organize your life. St. Louis Closet Company, 100% locally owned and 100% locally operated by Jennifer Williams and her family. It's been going for years. 100% custom manufactured closets here in St. Louis by a local company. St. Louis Closet Company will customize your kids' closets, your pantry, your laundry rooms, even Murphy beds. You want to save space? Murphy Beds is a great way to add an extra bed into the home. To find out more, stlouisclosetco.com. That's stlouisclosetco.com. Remember, you want to support local businesses? St. Louis Closet Company, locally owned and operated. 314-781-9000 or stlouisclosetco.com.
For over 40 years, Metro Lighting has made a commitment of service to their customers and is proud to be locally owned and operated. Metro Lighting offers a 1-year in-home product warranty on all lighting fixtures, lamps, and ceiling fans. So if something stops working, they'll repair it or replace it. Plus, Metro Lighting guarantees their prices against any competitor, including big box stores and the internet. Get the best selection on the highest quality lighting at the best price guaranteed at Metro Lighting. Visit metrolightingcenters.com for the location nearest you. Behind on your forklift training? Call AD Lift Truck at 314-389-1700 and AD Lift Truck will train your people. For more, go to adlifttruck.com. UPS is hiring part-time package handlers in Earth City, Missouri, especially on their evening and overnight shifts. Apply now at upsjobs.com. That's upsjobs.com.